Here we go. I'm making a YouTube of a YouTube. You guys ready? Best way to introduce myself.
Alright. So, automatically it loads with all your mapping here, and you can change all that if you want. I keep it normal, because why not? Alright.
Why not?
So, first things first is, so you click the kick, and now you make sure you're in multi-out, okay? Always make sure you're in multi-out, or else it's just not going to work. Okay, so, excuse my voice. Sorry, I'm not the best speaker, but I'll do my best. So, what you're gonna want to do is, I'm sure you've already installed GGD at this point and Kontakt into Reaper. So what you're gonna want to do is, you're gonna want to create a new track. You just double click over here, and then you can name it. Go ahead and name it Kontakt. And then you can go to this little effects button, click that. Go to add, and a little window will pop up. I usually dock mine to the right, so this is what it looks like here. And then you just go to filter down here.
That's clever.
Type in Kontakt. Oh, sorry. Type in Kontakt. Go to 16 out. Unless you want more than 16 outputs, go to 16, because that's what the best one is, in my opinion. Unless you're not going to do multi-out, then don't bother, just use the regular one for stereo, but if you want to use multi-out, definitely use 16 out. Alright.
He's using Kontakt 5. I'm using Kontakt 6 player, and it's working for me. So you don't necessarily have to have Kontakt 5. You can use the Kontakt 6 player, and it should work exactly the same. Just a little side note.
So now you're going to want to go to your Halpern signature pack here.
Alright, might as well. I'm just going to follow right along everything he says again, because I don't remember test 2. I didn't get rid of that. It's like really weird. So yeah, he's going to tell you very first thing, multi-out. That is like step 1.
And then you just throw in the Halpern drums NKI. And if you don't see that here, you're going to want to go to wherever you installed it to. And so, let's say I installed it here, GGD Halpern 2.0. I go to that, right? Click that. Click that, go to instruments, and then it'll be in the same format. So you just click the NKI and drop it over.
Yep.
Okay, so this is turned down a little bit. Make sure it's turned down.
Oh my god, is mine turned down too? Turned up, boy. Yes, why not?
Alright. So, automatically it loads with all your mapping here, and you can change all that if you want. I keep it normal,
because why not?
Alright, so, first things first is, so you click the kick, and now you make sure you're in multi-out, okay? Always make sure you're in multi-out, or else it's just not going to work.
Yep.
Alright. Then what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to create your outputs, because down here you probably won't have that. You might just have one. So down here you just click plus, and then to delete existing channels before creating new ones. That's what I do just to make sure. And then I want 6 channels, because I group all of my symbols together, because you don't really need to do all that. Unless you want to, you can make however many channels up to 16 as you want. So I'm gonna do 6 channels.
64 in my case, but like, no.
Of stereo. That's the number of channels. So that's mono, and then that's stereo. And then I'm gonna go to OK.
Gonna go to OK. Okay, baby. Alright, so he has far room all the way down. I wonder what that's like. I keep mine pretty. Overhead might not be so bad. So we do have actually multiple channels. Is that what I'm doing wrong here? I think. Let's try this again. Let's just say 64 channels. Don't need that. New track. I'm going to call it drums. And then 64. Whatever. It still comes out the same. So, okay, maybe not. Maybe that doesn't matter so much. Get our tracks back. Control Z. Control Z, haha. So, we've got, with Kontakt 6 player, you're going to get 64 tracks. That's just how it works. So you're going to go all the way to the right. Shift, click, delete, done. I like to name them first, but we're just going to do it exactly the way he says. Multi-out, so that's done. And then he's saying add outputs, delete existing. That's important. And we want 5. Just for simplicity's sake, just so we can do this really super quick. Alright, so that's good. We can do away with these. Well, that really doesn't matter. So, I think it's going to work this time. We're going to call that one kick, snare, toms, overhead, excuse me, room. Okay. And it's probably a bit more complicated to do in Kontakt without the GGD library because they streamline it where your room sounds are built in, so you've got all these things, and it's really, really nice. And we're gonna keep referencing this because I'm not even gonna go off memory.
And then you're gonna want to go down here. After those are created, you're gonna want to go to.
So yeah, we just did that.
I'll do spots and
spots
room.
are like auxiliary.
Okay, once you do
like
that, go down
splashes
here, and you actually set the channels for them. So you want your kick to be 1 and 2 active. So you're just gonna do all these, and then you'll save. So we'll do all these 3, 4. Use these auxes. I mean, you might, so you can chain connect them and just use the DAW for all the busing and all that.
So the extra ones we're just gonna select not connected. That's what he was doing. That's mildly inconvenient, but we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna run with that, because you know what? I followed him along last time and it worked. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing that this fella. Hey, come on. Oh, honest. Wait. Whoa, yo, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Not connected. Not connected, thank you. Connected again. Wait, come back here. Eh, come on. Man, why though? It's acting a fool. It's because there's so many channels. It doesn't like to have that many. Computers are kind of temperamental, man. I tell you. It's like no reason. It's just like, no, I don't want to do what you asked me to do. I don't feel like it. Okay. So we're going to go down just 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And the reason for this is that it's audio channels 2, which means stereo. So you're selecting each stereo output for each bus. It's a bit tedious. I'm sure there's a way to set this up, create a template, so that you can just kind of go straight out of the gate with a new project and have it already set up. I haven't gotten that far yet, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together. 7/8. We want 7/8. Oh wait. Yeah. Wait. Now I'm confused. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, whoops. Doo. We goofed up. I goofed up. Oops. We did the same thing twice here. Oops. 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. 9. 10. Yeah, and then I presume the next part is going to be save.
So yeah, just disconnect these, and then there you go. And then what you want to do is you want to save. Obviously, you can go in here, click the little disk guy, save as, or save multi-as. I do that because then you can name to whatever you want and put it to wherever you want. So now I have.
So yeah, we're gonna do exactly the same way. So that's, yeah, I mean, Bussy. Oh, one. I don't know. And then I think you have to close out.
Of helper and drums. Let's see. Just one, I guess. Helper and drums, one. Saves, boom. Now, I want to exit that and then reload it. Okay?
Ah, right. Okay. So, he actually exits out completely of the thing and then drags it back in. Right. And then load recent. Alright. 01. Yeah. Okay, that ought to do it.
The reason I'm doing that is because now when you see the outputs on each individual fader here, you can see what you named it to instead of the ST1, ST2. So now I can go into my kick and make that kick overhead, obviously overhead, room.
So, okay, you're right. Okay, yep. So, overhead's gonna go overhead. Near room, far room. Doesn't really matter because it's all the way down. Snare, overhead. You're just following along with what it says. Near room, far room. And this is why GGD is like the best thing right now. And maybe S3 does it too, but it's super streamlined. It's once you remember this exact method, there's no stopping you from being like pro mix. Like, it's really, really nice. And again, like, eventually I'm going to do more tracks and actually have like each tom on its own track, or 2 toms per track, something along those lines, just to give it even more, because it already pans. It pans by itself, I think, or does it? Well, you can do it in the GGD through GGD and Kontakt, like this right here. I'm not gonna go that far yet because my tom work isn't all that like impressive. Floor 1 toms, floor 2 toms. So it's a bit tedious, and I guarantee you there's a way you just save this preset and then, like, it's a lot of work to do this every time you start a new project or to go back into all of your projects and do this. But if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. I mean, I'm okay with finding the fast way later on. I'm just happy I know how to do it at all. So I got a buddy who might be more astute in getting to the bottom of that. Mac, I'm talking to you, buddy. Right overhead, stack, overhead, splash, overhead, baby, China, overhead, kick, wait, overhead, overheadception, near room, far room. So the room and the overhead basically gets everything in it already. So when you select those channels as their specified tracks as their specified channels, whatever, it has its own, like, you'll see it's cool. But now that we've done all of this, that basically completes our process. But I can go through just a little bit of EQing, what I have for, let's just see, this is why I love Reaper right here. Super lightweight, open project, drum bus. So this is my template I have saved. Once you do this, save a template, just start a whole new project, load up your drums. If you have an effects, like chain saved, that helps. And with bus drums, what I'm gonna go ahead and assume is like EQing. I could be wrong about this, and it really depends on your preference to some extent, but the EQing is going to be mostly on the separate tracks themselves, and then your main track, your mother track, is going to be like just some compression or something basic. You don't want to overdo it with this because the whole point of bussing is so you get a really, really natural, organic sound. And so what I have here in my template is just a bunch of grooves by Anup Sastry. And the way I can take you through that as well. You go Anup MIDI pack from this little thingy right here. Pick out some grooves, whatever you like. We'll just go pattern 9. So I have them stacked. Oh my goodness, okay, that was really confusing. In order to load the grooves, you actually have to play them first, so double click. And once it's done that, you'll go export. Or is it load? I don't remember, let's find out. Okay, it's export, and so we've got it on the track below. That's fine. We'll take that MIDI item and just line it right up to the grid, and because I just enjoy everything, and these are all just this is a collection of like 8 or 9 of those grooves, and some of them are probably the same, but anyway, this is a good reference material for your just to have like a really nice tight and syncopated pattern to build your EQ and stuff on with your individual tracks is super helpful. So what we've got. It's pretty quiet. I've done very little of the compression on my own. Like these, I may boost it. Like a lot of the dry gain sits at 0, and I just tend to boost it. That's really the only thing. Other than that, if you're working with the most updated FabFilter plugins, they've got presets, and it's just like so nice. It takes away a lot of the guesswork, and I'm just going to go ahead and trust that for now and get into more specifics later on as I gain more knowledge. Snare, nice and thick, whatever, it's fine. And again, I just kind of boost the gain, dry gain. What gain, I'm not so sure about it. That sounds kind of scary and dirty. I don't know what gain is. What's the difference between wet and dry gain? Someone tell me. Leave a comment. Slap your keyboard. And for whatever reason, overhead, I had the bright idea of turning on Saturn, which is like a guitar. It's like it's a simulator for like a power amp. And so you got your tube settings, and for some reason I thought that would be cool on an overhead signal. I don't know why. I mean, I think it sounds cool. And on the room, I just have a tiny bit of reverb. And so to kind of round it out and just hear the difference a little bit, like here's it without the reverb. It might be kind of hard to detect, but it does kind of increase the little bit of washiness that's going on. So now we've got all this, and what I'm going to go ahead and do, because I haven't done it yet, is for my kick, I'm going to go save effects chain, and I'm going to go GGD kick, and then... So this is really, I mean, the closest thing that I know of myself to getting this as... And I'm going to have to this is very preliminary, so I'm going to go back and overwrite these later on in order to like get it more and more detailed and specific. But as far as kind of saving yourself a little bit of repetition and like legwork every time you go into a session, this kind of makes it a bit more streamlined. What the? Come on. Save FX chain. Wait. Toms. Overhead. Save FX chain. OH. I think I did that right, didn't I? Oh. 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 GGD room, baby. Why does it keep doing? I'm clicking load by accident. GGD room. God, I don't know what I kept doing wrong there. So now that we've built the template, now that you've heard, just to give even more of an idea of like a really thick sound, this is what bust drums really sounds like. And just to go even further, to show you the difference really quick, again, this is why I love saving effects chains. So, I need to rename some of these. GGD. Okay, so this is what I've had previously for a long time. So it's got a basic EQ, a little compression. That thing actually I hate for drums. But yeah, like what I'll do, copy this bad mofo right here. Go in there. So now we're gonna solo. This is the old drum sound that I've been using for frickin' like few years now. Versus so it's a pretty stark difference. I mean, this one still sounds alright, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. So that's my bust thing, and now to hear it in the context of a mix, which I have not done yet. So yeah, basically we'll just get rid of that old drum track. And you know what, real quick, I'm curious what I had on there. So just compression. Okay, the EQ is flat in that already. Yeah, here in the context of a mix, I'm gonna wait and see. Here's the here's a moment of truth. Let's see if it works. Alright, right off the bat, that is too loud. And that's your master track, your master drum track. That's not gonna change your sound at all. In order to get your drums to the right level, you gotta go and do all that. So, further, we're going to go back, add effects chain. This is going to be for continuity, kick, snare, toms, and I'm just hitting tab to do that. OH room, hey mate. So you can go into your existing track, do this whole process, do it at like the last part of your buses, so it's like the last track in your chain, in your list, and you'll probably, if you're using the 6-player, you'll have to delete all those unassigned ones. It's mildly annoying, but it's just what you got to do. And so for the kick, you'll go, you know, if you're doing this save effects chain thing like I'm doing, I would go ahead and actually use that trick of the grooves, the Anup Sastry grooves. His are just like amazing. His drum performances and the little, it's a perfect way to get a feel for how the EQs respond to all his different velocities and nuance in his takes. So I would go ahead and just like chain a bunch of those together. You can go 1, load, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just go all the way through the list so you can hear all of his little nuances. And then you can glue them together if you want. You don't have to. All it is, it lines up to a grid. It sets the tempo and everything for you, so you don't have to worry about that. But do that to actually mix your track, to EQ and make little moves on your individual tracks, because having them all separated doesn't mean anything unless you give them each their own individual love. See what I'm saying? So that's a really, really, really good reference point to go from there. So we've got kick. It's just literally just EQ compression, and I'm doing the most basic thing here. So that one is snare. We're going to do that. Toms. And I hit escape to get out of that little thing right there. Overhead. Overhead and room together in the context of how they've got it set up together. That's the real difference of just programmed drums versus actually having them being bled through the overhead and the room. You're basically mimicking exactly what it would be like to have real tracked drums in your session. And what I always tell people who are weird about, oh, it's fake drum, it's not fake. These are real samples of real drums. So just because you don't have access to a big fancy recording studio with state-of-the-art microphones and state-of-the-art drums and yada yada, and a mixing engineer who charges out the ass, like, you don't need those things anymore. We have this technology that is capable of producing the exact same type of quality. Like, this isn't just this. These drum samples were intended to be good for like demoing, and they are very much, and they do help with creative, just getting ideas out. But you can produce final recordings with these. You can produce commercial, like, level, professional recordings with these. And that's what I've been saying for years, and now it's just like that much more obvious. So. All right, moment of truth. Here's the mix. It's not quite there. That's fine. We're gonna go. Actually, we're gonna select all. Control A. Control click each of these drums, and this is a really cool trick I like to do. I just take everything and lower it around the drums. So if you're reducing versus just trying to boost something to get it to come through, your ending wave and your overall mix is just going to be way less temperamental. It's like the Sherlock of producing. It's like deductive, where instead of adding things over and over, you reduce, and that just makes it easier to work with. So that's how that works. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out and checking out my content. Until next time.